Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 22. So today we're going to be using Alex Rins right here in the German Grand Prix of the Sachsenring, and we're going to be using helmet cam. Now I know you guys quite like it, there's a bit of a cult following for the first person perspective, so I thought why not give the guys what they want and show some helmet cam gameplay within the MotoGP category. Now, helmet cam is not something I use very often because when I'm commentating the races, I don't see much in the first-person perspective. I do like to play like this, but I am significantly slower than when I am if I'm going to be chucking in some really fast-paced laps within the third-person perspective. Now, I'm going to do a couple of laps here today for you in the Sachsenring. Now, it's going to be learning the track within helmet cam because I'm actually yet to do the Sachsenring in MotoGP in MotoGP 22. So this one is going to be relatively fun and also very unique because of course the circuit that hosts 10 left-hand corners and just 3 right-hand corners is a very unique one, and it's also extremely challenging, especially when you're on the left-hand side of the bike for so long. So now onto the brakes and into the final corner for the Queckenberg here in the Sachsenring. We'll bring on the power, and this will be our first banker lap within the helmet cam. And across the line it's a 1:20.188. So we'll go very firm on the brakes into the first corner, going a little bit wide here and onto the rumble strip as we'll get that wider line and then to get the tighter apex for the first corner. Chugging into the left-hand side with the power setting on 3, of course maximum power here with the Suzuki as we go into the Omega corner for the second time of asking and keeping it onto the right-hand side. A little bit of twitch there, you're seeing the handlebar just twitch ever so slightly. That's me trying to reconnect or correct myself, should I say, to the right-hand side. But now bringing it on for the turn 6 and then for the left-hand side for turn 7. I do prefer a much tighter apex, but I couldn't quite get the feeling in the first-person perspective. What I did try to do later on in the video, which we'll see, just trail brake ever so slightly for that left-hander. But now for another left-hander, of course, many left-handers here in the Sachsenring as we go to the left-hand side once again. Now to the right-hand side, down the waterfall section for turn 11 as we bring on the power. No ride height device used because I don't really particularly like it, as we go firm on the brakes and slam it all the way down to first gear. Nice and tight to the apex, a little bit too much there as we just touch the rumble strip here, and the Sachsenring is now braking very firm for the final corner and a little bit too wide for my liking. As we bring on the power, we will not be improving on the second lap, but that's okay. This is just an exercise, just a warm-up to get involved with the bike and get a feeling for the helmet cam, because of course it does feel really different to when you're in the third person perspective. And if there's any advice I can give you, treat the bike the same way as you do in third person. It's just that the visibility is lower, but at the same time you can still feel what you need to be doing. You know how to do it. It's just piecing it all together and overthinking a little bit when you're in the helmet cam. For things like looking at the rear tyre and watching it slide, yes, you don't see that, there's no visible aid, but at the same time, the bike's still the same. You just got to make sure you position the bike in the same spot, brake the same way, and just feel the track the same way you do from the third person perspective. But I've got to say, quite enjoying the helmet cam so far. It sounds great. I'll let you hear the bike in just a moment, as unfortunately it invalidated that lap. But as you go down the waterfall section, I'll let you just hear the bike. So now into the Queckenberg. I've decided I'm going to pit after this lap. Of course, invalidating the lap is not going to be doing anything special, and I didn't really get a good exit coming out of the Queckenberg. So let's jump into the pits and change the tyres. Now, unfortunately, you can't see the tyres in this one. We did have the mediums on to start off with, but now I've gone for a double soft. So we've got the soft front and the soft rear, and I think this is going to give us our best chance of improving the lap time. But for me right now, it's not about improving the lap time. It's not about getting the fastest lap time I can possibly do. It's just about consistency, getting the feeling, getting the experience built to understand that first person perspective is just as good and just as fun to ride as it is from third person. So from here on, just going to keep on improving and see what we can do. But towards the end of the video, we will be looking at one lap from the third person perspective just to see the difference between helmet cam and the view from the rear. But to the left-hand side, we'll go then for turn 8. Let's focus on this particular lap because we're already ahead by a tenth and a little bit as we approach turn 10 now. The third split will be coming up any moment now, so we're going to get a good indication of how much we're going to improve by, and it is by 0.2 of a second, so a pretty stellar lap for Alex Rins so far as we go to the left-hand side for the Saxon curve. Keep it nice and tight to the apex there. Whoa, the elbow would have been just kissing the rumble strip there onto the left-hand side. Absolutely stunning as we now brake nice and tight for the Queckenberg corner. I did feel I went a little bit too soft on the brakes there and lost a little bit of time, but across the line, that's your first 1 minute 19 lap here today, guys and gals. A 1:19.792, so that's a pretty good effort if I do say so myself. But now to the right-hand side for turn 1, keeping it nice and tight, a little bit too tight, just touching the rumble strip, and getting the wheel on the rumble strip is not something you want to do. If you want to go close to the rumble strip, that's fine. You can lean on it, you can put your elbow, you can put your knee sliders on it, but you don't want to be putting the wheel itself. You don't want to be riding on the rumble strip. You can just get close to it, but don't be riding on it. That's not a good advice if I can say so myself. But to the left hand side now for turn 6 and then for turn 7, keeping it in nice and tight. This one I start implementing that trail braking technique. Look how tight we are to the apex now. Really massive difference compared to the previous lap time. And now into turn 8, doing very well again. This could be another 1:19. I'm going to start sounding like Paul Hardcastle, and I'm going to mention 19 as many times as we possibly can, because if this is another 1:19 lap, then I'm going to be very, very chuffed. I think it's going to be pretty close, if I do say so. I mean, like 0.2 of a second going into... Oh! Massive moment there. Absolutely massive moment into the Saxon curve, and unfortunately, no 1:19 for me in this particular session. Well, let's finish the lap. We can still take a look at the sort of sector times at the end of the video, so I'm going to finish the lap anyway, even though it was a bit of a disaster. Back into the pits, fresh pair of tyres, and let's go for another few laps. So a sip of the Monster Energy and time to go once again, braking into the first corner just before the end of the rumble strip there, excuse me, to the end of the wall on the left-hand side where the pit lane starts. Now, pretty good. Into the second sector, or excuse me, second corner. Oh, it's neck and neck. I'm looking at the top right-hand corner of your screen there, ladies and gentlemen, and the green line is telling us that we are improving the lap time, but it's all about keeping it going and keeping this together now. We don't want to be looking at that and getting a little bit too excited. We don't want to be doing that, because that's when you start making mistakes. But to the left we'll go now for turn 7. The trail braking technique is in full effect again. Look how tight we were to the apex there. That's your thumbnail, ladies and gentlemen, how close we were to the rumble strip just a moment ago as we go to the left-hand side again for turn 8. 10th and a little bit, maybe just less than 1/10 of a second slower than the previous lap time. It's pretty good. Oh, are you kidding me? The lap time was invalidated once again. That was really close. I would have liked to see a replay on that one, but unfortunately it's not really a thing in the time trial. But that was... It must have been a whisker. An absolute whisker touching the green paint there. This is still going to be a great lap nonetheless, but that's going to hurt that one. To the left we'll go for Queckenberg then for the final corner, bringing on the power. It's going to be an improvement, is it? Is it not? Oh, it's very, very close. It was an improvement, but unfortunately an invalidated lap doesn't mean it can be held high on the leaderboards. But to the right we'll go then for turn 1. Got a few more laps in us now, and that's probably the last one within the helmet cam, so we've got to make it count, and then we'll see how we do with the third person perspective. So into turn 3 for Omega, keeping it nice and tight to the right hand side. Chuck it to the left hand side and make sure you position the Suzuki really tight to the apex here, or go wide and then go for the tighter apex. There's two different ways of doing it. Kind of prefer the wider one, but now to the left hand side, the trail brake technique in again. Really tight, losing time ever so slightly though. But it now on the exit, oh, it's going to be absolutely neck and neck this one, but we cannot invalidate it. On the approach onto the uphill section now to the left-hand side for turn 9. Keep it on the rumble strip, don't go any further than that. It's going to be very close, this one, guys. Really, really close. Down the waterfall section we'll go then, missing out by 0.017 of a second. Hard on the brakes we'll go for the Saxon curve. A little bit wide, but we get the cutback for the tighter apex. The Monster Energy Suzuki is absolutely flying at this point as we go very firm on the brakes. Into the left-hander for the Queckenberg, a little bit wide for my liking, but now bringing on the power across the line. It is another 1:19. It's a 1:19.688. So then, guys, we've seen the helmet cam. How well do we perform under pressure with the third-person perspective? So this is my first third-person perspective lap here in the Sachsenring, and already into the first corner, 0.4 of a second quicker. Now 0.5 of a second quicker. To the right-hand side for Omega, it is 0.5 second quicker with the third person perspective. That is a significant amount. A little bit of a wheelie there to the left hand side, but we'll now go for turn 5, keeping it relatively tight, following that racing line, bringing on the acceleration, trail braking ever so slightly to the left hand side. You can see it there in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. 7.5 tenths of a second, 7 tenths we are up by. I thought the helmet cam was going to be putting up a better fight than this, but unfortunately, in this instance, I'm just so much more used to the third person perspective. But I gotta say, Alex Rins' riding style in MotoGP 22 is not replicated well. He doesn't move. He's so static. It just doesn't work. As we now go to the left hand side for the Saxon curve, a little bit deep, making a mistake there. We were up by just a second a moment ago, but it's still going to be a massive improvement nonetheless. But I would like to see Alex Rins' riding style improved in the next update, or a future update at the very least. But across the line, a 1 minute 18.946 with Alex Rins in the third person perspective. So guys, that is my best lap times here today, 8 laps, and all of them pretty respectable. I'm a little bit disappointed I did invalidate so many laps within the helmet cam, and I'm not really interested in our main lap with the third person perspective, because it's not really what it was all about today. I just wanted to see the difference, but I'm definitely going to be working out on the helmet cam and seeing if we can improve for next time. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you use helmet cam, let me know in the comment section down below, and upon that note guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.